Welcome, one and all, to the galaxy of Geeks live stream and podcast. How's everyone doing out there today? If you can give us a big thumbs up, that would be great. I see we've got some people watching live. Welcome to the live stream of the show. We appreciate you guys watching along live with us. And of course, we want to thank everybody who will watch the replay of this later on, and those of you who listen to the audio version of the show as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please do us a favor, hit that like button or the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you are listening to this on the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. We really appreciate it, and it helps grow the show. So welcome, everybody. This is wonderful. I'm really happy to be here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. It's like you sent me over the quick hits and the notes from today. I'm like, holy crap, there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, there is a lot. So there's happy Thursday. I'm assuming that's
Christian.
I'm not drinking anything as sophisticated as Chris, but
yeah, drinking my handy dandy Thursday drink. It's a
Chris and his frosty beverages. So.
I have a frosty, tasty beverage, rocking and rolling on a Thursday evening here. Early evening for me, 6 p.m. But for you, well, it's after 6. But for you, it's like what, 1 after 1?
No, after midnight. 6
after
hours.
Midnight. Okay, yeah. There you go.
So,
yeah,
that's fine. I'm usually still up one way or another for another hour or two. The problem is I finished doing these shows with you, and then I'm like all fucking. Oops, sorry. I'm ready. I'm all wired up. You know, it sucks because you're, you know.
I know.
The Thursdays and Fridays after doing the 2 different live streams, it's like you want to I want to crank the amp up to 11 all of a sudden. You know, I just want to rock out or whatever. But you know, it is what it is. I usually end up just listening to music for a few hours to mellow out and.
You got to come down. You got to come down.
You got to come down. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to come down a little bit. I get you, man. I feel you. You know, there's a lot that happens. I mean, yeah, you got 2 back-to-back shows. We do this show. We get amped up, and then you have your Friday show with Mars Attack from Mars. The Martians attack. Martians go home.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. No, it's
technically Signals from Mars is the Friday.
Yes, I know. Signals from Mars. Live signals from Mars.
There you go. So I actually, that was the backup name that I've always had. I explained this the other day to somebody. Obviously the Mars Attacks is owned by Topps.
Right.
The the card making company.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a backup because if they ever came after me and said that they don't want me to use the name, then I'd have something else to kind of jump on. And I was like, well, I own the domain, own the name, so might as well just use it somewhere.
You might as well. Yeah. Well, no, it's good. You should use it. You own it.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. So we have a lot to get into today.
Yes.
First and foremost, we'll be talking about this latest episode of The Bad Batch, which was really great episode. I can't wait to start talking about. Plus, we have lots of quick hits. Plus, as promised, I will deliver my top 3 picks for actors to play Mara Jade. There may even be a 4th pick in there too. But I appreciate everybody who chimed in. We posted it on social. We posted it on the Instagram site. We posted it on Facebook in the Facebook group. And we got some great answers, so we'll share those as well to see what other people chimed in with, and and we'll see if I get like thumbs up or thumbs down for any of my picks. I will. Spoiler alert: Brie Larson is not on there, and neither is Scarlett Johansson. I'm just gonna tell you straight up.
I brought them both up last week.
You did. Well, the conversation started because of what Brie Larson said. So that was nothing against Brie Larson. Just don't. I would never bring her in for the role to audition. That she does not fit the description for me.
And the funny thing is, we watched Endgame this past Saturday because my wife hadn't seen it. I didn't realize that she hadn't seen it. And Saturday nights we watch, a movie with my kids. It's kind of like our family get together night. And and I said, I want to watch a superhero movie. And I was close to putting on one of the Ant-Man movies because I wanted something fun, something different.
Right.
And I just turned Endgame on when we were about to eat dinner. And everyone was like, no, keep it on. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, no one else realized this movie's 3 hours long. It's funny. So we watch, we all watch it. We enjoyed it. And when Brie Larson appears, especially with the short-haired version, I'm like, not Mara Jade.
Definitely not Mara Jade. Definitely not Mara Jade.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be getting into all that for sure. So I'll share my picks. We're going to talk about quick hits, but right now let's dive into this latest episode of The Bad Batch. Bad Batch episode 4, entitled Cornered. And it's man, what an episode. Talk about a really high action packed episode, and it was a nice build to things too, because when the action started, it was like breakneck speed.
Yeah, here's something interesting that okay, so the translation of cornered in Spanish is acorralado. That's the word. Okay, that's the name for First Blood in Spanish, for the movie First Blood. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, interesting way. I said, well, it's a direct translation.
Yeah.
But instantly, you think of that, I thought, John Rambo, I thought, action. I'm like, I wonder if they're trying to tell us something else. Are we in for something? And like you're saying, it picked up immediately. I mean, we talked about Fennec last week and the week before. Yep. What did it take? 2 minutes for her to appear?
It was great, and it was just such a great way to bring her onto the show. I mean, and you know what? And the thing too, the guy that the voice, I swore it was oh my gosh, he sounded like the guy who did the voice for Fat Tony on The Simpsons. Like, which was man, I had it in my, I lost it. I had it at the tip of my tongue, and Montana, Tony Montana, I think, or something like that. Anyway, he did the voice of Fat Tony in The Simpsons, and he sounded just like him, but it wasn't, and I loved it. I thought that was great the way they brought him on. Yeah, great question.
I wondered who hired Fennec, the Empire or someone else. I think I don't think it was the Empire, because the Empire does not know anything about Omega, or excuse me, as my partner here says, Omega.
Omega.
Omega. Every time you're saying it last week, I'm thinking we've got broken Matt Hardy on the show.
That's what she said. That's what she says on the show. She goes, "I'm Omega."
Well, because she's saying it with an Australian accent.
So I'm just like, okay, her name is Omega.
Omega. I think it's the Kaminoans are the ones that hired Fennec.
Well, I actually feel so. I was going to dive into this a little bit later, but because Christian now just jumped in and brought this up, I actually feel like it's Boba Fett who got his little group going, and because since Boba Fett and Fennec have a really tight, tight relationship, and I think that they're between him and her and maybe a couple other bounty hunters, they have hired Boba Fett to go get Omega, and he sent Fennec.
I didn't think of it that way. But there obviously has to be when Harry met Sally, when Fennec met Boba Fett, there has to be one of those moments, and maybe we get it through the Bad Batch. We see how they work together, and maybe Boba Fett was originally in the position of Carl Weathers' character. Maybe he was. Well,
I mean, it would just make sense, just given the fact that, I mean, he is a clone. He is Jango Fett's son, and
he's got the most interest in the whole thing.
Right.
But now here's the thing: if it's Boba Fett, they're looking to move away from his father's DNA, though.
They are, but he's still an awesome bounty hunter.
True.
And, and I think going after the Bad Batch requires skill, which, the other clone troopers don't really stand a chance, which we've seen. Right. And they're also under the eye right now of Tarkin. So they have to do something that's a little like under the radar. And I feel like the go-to person here is Boba Fett, and Fennec and Boba Fett are working together in whatever they have their little group, or, whatever, Boba Fett's crew. And I think that she's out, and I think that's who she's talking to at the end when she's kind of reporting back, like, they got away, but I'll catch up. I'll get them. I think this is where we'll see Boba Fett get introduced into the show, which will then, give us a little backstory about their relationship, which explains Mandalorian a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, Book of Boba Fett.
Here's one thing that I was thinking while I was watching the episode, or maybe it was kind of thinking about the previous week's episode. We know what great shots the stormtroopers end up being, not the clone troopers, but the stormtroopers.
Right.
Obviously, Crosshair isn't training them in shooting any of the actual stormtroopers. Maybe the Death Troopers, but not the stormtroopers, because.
Well, I personally don't think Crosshair is making it out of the show alive. Honestly, I don't think he's going to make it out alive. I think we're definitely going to lose some of the Bad Batch along the way.
I don't know.
That's my theory.
I think ultimately towards the end of the season, I think we'll see them. My thought has always been that they'll rescue him. Like, he'll realize that something's wrong.
Well,
and he'll reach out, and they'll, almost have like a suicide mission to go and rescue him.
Right. Or he winds up sacrificing himself to save them because they're on a mission and they're cornered or something. And he's going to wind up sacrificing himself, or
it could be,
and then I don't know. I could just see sort of like a little bit of a Rogue One type ending with some of these characters, and whether or not they all make it out or one of them makes it out. I mean,
right.
It's just going to be interesting to see once again what they do with Omega, and I feel like Tracker, or not Tracker. That's
Hunter.
Hunter. I feel like he's going to be the one to sort of get away and maybe disappear, and sort of have that like invisible life, like get out. And I don't know. I like where they're going. I like how they're setting this all up. We're getting, I loved that they brought Fennec in. I love this whole episode too, because the lap between this episode and the last episode, which actually they've been doing in every episode, is doing like callbacks to other classic Star Wars, bits. Like the following week, episode 3, we had the whole sort of like the Empire Strikes Back, like the Minok, when they landed in the asteroid. So we sort of had that whole thing with that, which was really cool. And then this episode, which, while not my favorite of the Star Wars prequels, the chase scene in Clone Wars was actually really cool. I thought that chase scene was neat, and this had a lot of those parallels with that, but it was a cool callback to that. Like, it was a great chase scene. I mean, that was, and it went like way longer and further than I thought they were going to go with it, like with some crazy stuff, and then straight up like, Fennec like murdering cops. Like, I was like, once again, Disney again. Like, what is happening? Like, I'm not complaining. It's just always when it happens, I'm still shocked by it, because I'm like, wow, I can't believe Disney is letting this happen, because I just didn't think they ever would.
I think they're just rolling with the punches there. They're seeing what the audience is, gauging their audience. And again, it's a different platform because it's their own platform. So they're also not held up to the same standards as being on Disney XD or Nickelodeon or even out in the theaters. So That's why, again, we've talked about it with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and with this, definitely I saw, and she also killed the guy that she took his car or his vehicle or whatever that.
She killed that guy, and I love what Christian said in the comments too. Like Fennec took Wrecker out with minimal effort, not an easy task. Like literally, I think I watched it again. Like I think she made 2 or 3 moves and he was out. Like
right.
And Wrecker's, basically the Hulk of the Clone Wars.
He's definitely the power player. He's not the finesse guy where he was beat by a finesse player there. So
yeah, and I loved. There was 2 other great moments in the show is when they were trying to fix the ship and he's trying to explain to him where the little tracking thing is.
Right,
and he's like, "Oh, here." He goes, "Just tell me what to rip out." He's just like. It's like, don't so just tell me what to rip out. And then I love the whole scene of them selling Echo as a droid. That's so great. I'm worth
when he leaves
2,000 credits.
When he leaves, it's funny. He's like, "Shut up, man! I'm worth more than what you paid for."
Yeah, it's so good. I thought that was really funny. I love that. Yeah. I gotta tell you, man, the episode from top to bottom was great for me. I mean, I have nothing negative to say at all. I think the show is really hitting a stride. I mean, we're coming into episode 5, and episode 5 is usually an episode in these series that always feels a little slow. There's some setup. There's always that episode 5 around there. It always feels like a filler type thing, and it's
right.
I don't know if we're gonna have flashbacks, but I don't know. We'll know by tomorrow when the episode drops, like what we're getting, but. Right. I'm hoping they continue on because the show is just building at a great pace, and that the story is getting deeper, and there's still a ton of mystery.
Yeah, and there's 16 episodes, and we don't know. I mean, we don't know if this is supposed to go more than this season. So
yeah, we don't know yet. I mean, we're all assuming it's kind of a one and done, but it may not be.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching a limited series on HBO that's on now, Mayor from Easttown. And I was thinking, I'm like, not for nothing, but HBO's been doing these limited run series forever, going all the way back to, Band of Brothers, which I absolutely love. That was 10 episodes and it was done.
Well, they did do a second one, but it was in the Pacific.
Yeah, it was kind of not the same.
It wasn't as good.
Well, it also had the difference is the Band of Brothers was written by one person. It was based on one person's book. By the time they got to doing the Pacific, the pieces of story that they had, the actual author who wrote the Band of Brothers had passed away. So his son tried to finish some of his writing. As a result, the style was a little different. They didn't have as much information. So they took from other stories. And it's interesting because out of the 3 characters that they focused on, 2 out of the 3 were out of New Jersey. One of them, who was from Raritan, in the extras, they show a guy who was like the head of the committee for the annual parade that they have for the guy. And I was watching, and I was like, holy crap, this guy was my 8th grade woodshop teacher. Yeah.
Wow.
It was interesting. But anyway,
that is cool.
I digress. What I'm trying to get at is that HBO has made limited run series a thing for the longest time. And we've never really complained about it, to think that, we needed more. Whereas you look at other things where they've tried to carry things on and it didn't work, like True Detective, where season 1 great, season 2 crap, season 3 was much better but still didn't live up to season 1. So it's almost looking at the fact that this may be just 16 episodes, the whole thing,
right?
That might not be such a bad thing, because we may get enough out of their story arc to again fill in blanks
Mm-hmm.
between Clone Wars and Rogue One, let's say, or New Hope.
Well, yeah, there's that, and then of course even Rebels is like there's stuff there like that time. So
Right.
there's a lot of time
Right.
to absolutely fill, and so they can
Right.
keep going on all these different little trajectories. And the thing is, when they do these shows like Bad Batch, it also provides a springboard for a potential like another story.
Yeah.
Like these guys
Well,
came out of the Clone Wars. I mean,
yeah.
you know, I mean, they were what in 2 episodes, 3 episodes in the final season.
More. I think it was 3 actually, 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
because they were that first arc,
Yeah.
the beginning,
So
and then it went to Ahsoka's 2 arcs.
right. So what's to say that there isn't a springboard out of this show of whoever makes it out?
Here's my theory. If whoever makes it out, Christian is saying Hondo. We bring up Hondo every week.
Every week we bring in Hondo. He better show up.
Yeah, him and Cad Bane.
Oh, maybe she's working for Cad Bane. I just blew my whole Boba Fett theory. Just got blown away.
There you go.
Maybe they're all working together.
Maybe. Okay, what about this? Let's say Hunter makes it out.
Right.
What if he helps Sabine and Ahsoka locate Ezra because he's the master tracker?
Well, very well could be. I mean, you'll have to do a time jump, obviously.
Well, he'll be a much older character. He'll be
like kind of Rex's age, like you know, where we see Rex. Yeah,
he may be frumpy like Rex, but his skills are still there. You know.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great tracker. So yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool. Yeah, he helps find Ezra. Oh man, which then brings Thrawn back.
Well,
because you can't find one without the other, right?
Could they use Sylvester Stallone in the live action
as Hunter? Possibly. I mean, especially if we go to jump and older, it would probably fit. Stallone would be pretty good. I mean, I like Hunter's voice as opposed to Stallone. He's got the, you know, he's
yeah. But the look, you know, he's I think the look is really based off of that whole, again, the whole Rambo thing. And he, you know, aged,
he is. You're right.
You know, aged those years. He's on some planet, you know, like all the other clones that got away. He's farming somehow. And you know, so what?
Well,
Stallone is known for putting those mercenaries movies together.
He is. And you did say it at the top, First Blood.
First Blood. There you go.
So I think we have it all figured out. You heard it here first. You know, all other geek channels listen to our scoop. You heard it here first on the Galaxy of Geeks. Breaking news.
Sylvester Stallone will play an aged Hunter in the SWU.
Yeah, the SWU. This just in. We've accurately predicted on May 27th at 6:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sylvester Stallone will play Hunter. Will play a live action version of Hunter in some future Star Wars.
We have predicted several things in the past.
We have, and they have come true. So,
yes.
Talk about scoops. We are scoops. We're scooping the scoopers.
There you go. Poop and the scoopers.
There we go. Yeah. So, anyway, just to wrap it up, I mean, listen, great episode, man. I mean, I don't know what else. I loved Fennec, loved that chase scene. Great. Once again, Disney getting very liberal with on-screen deaths and just straight up murder happening, like cold-blooded murder. Okay, you know, I mean, listen, it works for the characters. Just always still shocking to me that we're watching Disney properties like this. You know, just I mean, listen, they've always had violence, but the straight up murder end of things recent has been glaring.
Yes, they've turned it up a notch. They've come a long way from Bambi.
Yeah, they've come a long way from Bambi. You know, you just heard off-screen gunshots. You know, whereas this is like straight up, I'm just gonna execute you style of the bounty hunter death. So, great episode, and really looking forward to tomorrow's episode when that drops. Episode 5, which I don't know what that's called. Episode 5 is.
Let's see. Does IMDb have it?
Yeah, let's see if they released it yet. Bad Batch episode 5. Episode 5.
It is called episode 5.1.
Yeah, they have not released a name for it yet.
Oh wait, I'm seeing here on a some guy named Mike Zero is saying that the episode is named The Cad of Hondo.
It's called Hondo's Return. Hondo Strikes Back.
It's called Hondo's Bane.
Hondo's Bane. Wow. Hey, there you go, Christian. the Hondo Strikes Back.
Hondo Strikes Back. Yeah.
The Bane of Hondo. That would be great, though. That would be great.
It would be. Absolutely. Hello, my friend.
Hello, friends. It's like great. Oh, this guy again.
Yeah. Well, first there has to be an intro where they have an issue with him. Obviously,
right.
If they haven't already, maybe something already happened that we don't know of.
Right.
Between them. Hello, my friends.
Oh my God, yeah. I listen. It's all very possible. I would not be shocked at this point if we see all kinds of characters coming in from all the different, all the prequel and of course Clone Wars, things like that coming into this. Because I think that it's just because they're unfinished stories with a lot of those characters. So we didn't see people just die on screen, and they're our fan favorites. People want to know. We still really want to know what happened to Cad Bane. We have no idea what happened to this character, and he was a big part of Clone Wars for a while, and then that was just kind of it, and there's unfinished business there, of course, with Rebels and Hondo was in Clone Wars too, so there's that. You've got even stuff with the Mandalorians out there, all those things. So yeah, lots of interest. I mean, Darth Maul, I think in this timeline is doing stuff. So I mean,
are they going to pull a Darth Maul again?
I don't know. It's a card they keep going. They keep going back to that well. So we'll see.
To quote Gorilla Monsoon, he went back to the well one too many times.
That's a true one. That is a true one.
He telegraphed it. Yeah. He went back to the well too many times.
Gorilla Monsoon, rest in peace.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up of our reaction and recap of The Bad Batch, episode 4, Cornered. Definitely, we will be back next week to talk about Bad Batch, episode 5. Called The Bane of Hondo. We don't know. That's not the real name, but it's definitely episode 5. So we'll be back next week to talk about that, as we've been doing. And once Loki starts too, we'll be integrating Loki and Bad Batch talk. But right now, it's time for Quick Hits. Quick Hits. Woo! Quick Hits. Here we go. Everybody's favorite part of the show. Everybody's favorite part of the show.
Everybody's favorite.
Yes.
We've taken a poll.
All right. Yes, we have taken a poll, and it's unanimous. Everybody loves Quick Hits.
Everyone loves it.
Yes.
So,
all right, kicking off with our first quick hit.
Yes.
The Eternals.
You skipped over one.
Oh no.
Okay, we can go with this. That's fine.
Go with this one, and then we'll. I'll while you're going, I'll enter it in. Oh yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the rumor that I have that I read, or not rumor, it was brought up by Screen Crush by saying that it basically he broke down the Eternals trailer and describes who the Eternals are, why they're supposedly on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They're here to protect Earth from the Celestials, who we saw in the first Thor movie.
Right. The Deviants.
Yes. And then the Deviants, who are the bad Eternals.
They're so bad.
For example, Thanos is a Deviant. Okay. So they're also on Earth to protect the Earth from the Deviants. However, from what they're saying, the Eternals have been kind of put into hibernation, let's say, or in standby mode. So they've been living on Earth for thousands of years, but don't remember their own power. So apparently in the movie, their powers are going to be turned on somehow, which led them to surmise in the Screen Crush video that could the Eternals then be the ones to turn on the X gene and say, hey, we need something to help protect the Earth from the Celestials, from the Deviants, and we can't do it alone. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a specific number of humans, mutate them, so that they can help us, because each Eternal has a different skill set, basically, much like a mutant. So that's what they put together with that. Is that perhaps the X-Men or the X gene is turned on through the Eternals? I don't know. Do you find? I mean, again, we've been talking about this the last few weeks. It seems as if we're now shoehorning. We want to see the X-Men. We want to see Mephisto. We want to see, so many things that have been brought up in a different series, that any little thing that could possibly be twisted into being all right, cue the X-Men. Here it is. There's something etched in that rock. It says there's an M etched in that rock. It means mutant. I don't know. Is it plausible? Sure, all of this is plausible.
It's all plausible. It's comic books, man. I mean, it could happen. I mean, listen, I think any kind of an event, like large scale event that happens in the MCU from this point on, to me, is all suspect and under scrutiny of being the thing that activates the X gene, the mutant X gene in people. And we could find out maybe it was the blip, snap, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they call it the blip in MCU. It could be this kind of an event. It could be what we're going to see happen in the multiverse with Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man apparently, and all that's going to go on there. I mean, there's so many other things coming down the pike. Secret Wars. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff coming down that could be the event that starts the mutants.
Yes.
I think what you just said is definitely plausible. They have to introduce the X-Men at some point.
But I think the hardest thing, like we've talked about, how do we...
Oh, wait a second. What are we talking about? They already introduced the X-Men. We got Richard Boner. Forget this. This conversation is stupid. Richard Boner Wanda is theoretically a mutant. Yes.
So, I mean, again, if it's like a House of M type thing where she's imagining her perfect family and you have Magneto in there and all this stuff, does she bring them in? Are they brought from another dimension? There's still, because I think that the problem that we're going to run into, or the biggest problem, is obviously Professor X has to be one of the first people that's brought in.
That's correct.
But again, we saw them bring in Spider-Man, and we didn't need to tie that Spider-Man into the other Spider-Man. We understood the story, and he was just introduced. So could the X-Men just be like a secret program that was up in New York being used by Professor X, and all of a sudden, hey, Nick Fury introduces them to say, hey, we had these guys in our back pocket just in case if we couldn't beat Thanos, but now we need them. We don't have the Avengers aren't around anymore, so we need them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree. I mean, we don't need a giant explanation as to why they're there, but we just got to get them in. And so it's just, what way do we get them in that makes sense? It's seamless. People are like, oh, this is cool. And it doesn't feel so like
forced.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, exactly. Here's a rock. It says, just really ridiculous. Like, let's just get them in and get this going. And that's all I got to say on it.
Or, I mean, if they do a Secret Wars, if they end up doing a Secret Wars, they could potentially just, if it's like the original where they took pieces from other planets and just brought everyone together on one planet, all the superheroes and all the villains, if that's their end game, it could be plausible that they save it all the way until then.
Right.
To make it where they just appear all of a sudden out of like nowhere. Here's my biggest problem with that, though. Seeing how Falcon and Winter Soldier worked out, I would almost want Secret Wars to be a series on Disney Plus with like a big finale on the big screen.
Yeah. Well, see, isn't Secret Wars gonna be a series?
No, that's Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But if they go that Secret Wars route, or well, I guess they're already doing that with all these limited run shows, though.
Right.
Because it's still, we've said it before, it's similar to what they do with the comics, where they interlace everything. So
right.
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yes.
It'll definitely be interesting. It's going to give us a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Maybe
exciting.
Maybe Loki is what brings the X-Men into the MCU.
It could be. I think
we're going through time and traveling through the multiverse. So, just saying.
Well, imagine this, though.
He brings Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man into the MCU, which then brings the X-Men in.
What about this, though? The reason that the Time Variance Authority is there, or whatever the actual name is, they're fixing a bunch of different things with that have happened. Let's say Loki messed with time so much that he made the X-Men disappear. And what they're going to do is he's correcting his mistakes that he's done. So as a result, they're making him go back and fix the fact that no one knows of the X-Men, even though they previously existed.
Potential. It's all good, man. It's all good stuff. Christian checking in with Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore was just announced to be Secret Invasion. Hoping it's Norman Osborn, he'd be perfect. Shooter. I agree. I think he'd be great as Norman Osborn. I agree with that. I think that is a good one. So
he never played a bad guy.
No. All right. Moving along, because these are quick hits.
Yes. MODOK. Did you see it?
I did not watch it yet. I want to watch it, so
Okay.
I saw the trailer. It looks great. I'm looking forward to it.
remember what you said about detours?
Yes.
It's the same thing, but set like in Marvel. I mean, this is.
And they probably, because they own it. So I was hoping they were going to drop it. That was the big rumor, but I still think they will at some point. But
I think if this is successful,
we'll
see
see detours.
it.
Yeah.
We'll see detours because this is this is over 16 years old is what it's rated on Stars. It's very adult humor. It is stop animation. It's essentially like watching Robot Chicken, but with just Marvel characters.
Right. And that's what Detours was supposed to be.
Right.
It was computer animation, but like really extreme. Right. And the guys from Robot Chicken wrote it and were doing voices and the whole thing. So yeah, I saw the trailer. It looks hilarious. I want to get into it.
Yeah, and everyone, similar to what happened in Robot Chicken, all of the characters are like known people. It's Patton Oswalt plays MODOK.
He's great. He's so good.
Lisa Fumero, who is Amy on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, she's in it. John Daly's in it. Wendy McLennan Covey is in it. Sam Richardson, John Hamm is in it. All of Nathan Fillion is in it. So the majority of the actors, Bill Hader, Whoopi Goldberg, Alan Tudyk.
Of course, Alan Tudyk.
Brian Posehn is
surprised Mark Hamill's name hasn't come up in that yet.
I'm sure it will, or he's going under a pseudonym.
Yeah, just because how he is, he'll do any when there's a good voice that needs to be done, he's usually in the mix.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz, if you remember Brooklyn.
Brooklyn
Recreation and
Parks
ton of
and
other things. Yeah, so it's chock full of big name actors.
All right. Well, I will definitely check it out.
I found it entertaining.
Interesting. I like your very deadpan review. I found it entertaining.
Entertaining.
It was entertaining. Omega.
Yeah. Before I was about to give you the War of the Clones. You almost went
War of the Clones. The Clones.
Bring on the War of the Clones.
All right, moving along.
Yes. The Widow of Black and the Widow of Red.
The Red and the Black Widow. Black and Red Widow.
So, the rumor is that Florence Pugh's character will not be Black Widow after all, but she will not be the new Black Widow, as people have been referring to her for 2 years since we started seeing trailers for this.
Basically, yes.
And the new rumor is that her character will be the Red Widow, not the Black Widow.
For Dark Avengers?
Could be.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been, again, for the last 2 years, year and a half, however long it was that
I feel like we've been talking about this for at least 2 years.
Yeah, it's going to be one of these things where I'll believe it when I see it that it's finally out,
Oh, I know, right? It's definitely going to be the first film I go see in a theater, sit in a theater and proudly.
Yeah, and Christian is saying she's confirmed for the Hawkeye show as well. So,
all right.
Dark Avengers or Young Avengers. I mean, there's so many nuggets that they've left along the way that they could be constructing multiple things.
That is very true. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways they can go with this, and just because she's on one team doesn't mean she's not going to crisscross and go on other and appear in other shows or team ups or whatever.
Let's not forget, this is the same company that is pretty much shoehorned Spider-Man and Wolverine in every possible group.
Yeah, that's true.
We've seen both as Avengers.
Yep.
We've seen Spider-Man in the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
We've seen believe Wolverine we've seen as a defender, possibly. But again, ratings are down. Who do we plug in? Let's bring in Wolverine. No, let's bring in Spider-Man. It just seems like it's the go-to, characters for everything. I'm hoping that Feige will at least, try to keep it coherent and competent, where to the point where if someone shows up, it'll be a cameo. They don't have to be part of, the actual team. Similar to like how Rhodey in Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't really have to suit up. He was just there, served the purpose to move the
he moved the story forward, and it was great. It was good. I thought they did that great. Yeah, we didn't have to see them suit up and get in a battle mode and all this stuff. Like the character was there, played a role, and then that was it. Like they were done. They did what they needed to do, and that their part in the story was over.
And one of the things that they said was they wanted to use Spider-Man, but Feige pretty much said, hey, Spider-Man shows up the last episode, all focus goes on him.
Well, and that's the same reason why they didn't put Luke Skywalker in Force Awakens.
Right.
Because of that. Like everybody's just, well, Luke's in, that's it. Doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. Now Luke's on screen. Like
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, until the very end, but I mean, they originally had him in like the first draft of that he was all over that script. So anyway, I don't want to go too far off on that, but all right. So looking forward to this, and I guess we'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this movie though. Black Widow, man. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Next, Dave Bautista has been dropping hints that he's stepping away from Guardians after the third movie. He's already said in, the various interviews while promoting Army of the Dead that it's harder and harder for him to maintain the body. And, as a result, he doesn't see himself being able to play Drax beyond this movie.
Dude, he looked huge in Army of the Dead. Rachel and I watched it over the weekend.
Right.
First of all, that was fun. I really enjoyed Army of the Dead. I really did. Zack Snyder did a great job. I thought it was cool. He looked enormous, like not fat, like the Hulk in that film. I mean, obviously it's the way they shoot him too, but man, I mean, he must have went from like doing both at once or training for Drax. And I don't know, but man, does he look ripped? And it's like, how he normally has no neck. He really looks like he has no neck in that movie. That guy's just walking muscle. It's unreal. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think that he'll walk away from Guardians? Do you think this is a ploy to make more money?
You know what? I mean, listen, when actors say things like this out in the public, it's usually a PR move. It could be a negotiation play. I mean, it's the same thing as sports guys, right? I mean, athletes, they drop things in the media because, they're getting ready to negotiate a new contract or, whatever it is. So, I mean, it's very well could be that. But also we know Bautista's not above just saying what he thinks, and he may be done with the character, but I don't know. I mean, it could be a play to get more money. Everybody else is getting paid, and it's like, hey, why not me? Unless he wants a campaign for a different character within the Marvel universe. There's that too.
Yeah, I don't know. Or he's looking to make a solo movie because Drax did have his own comic.
He did have his own comic, and Drax is, he's popular enough character. I mean, listen, the thing is, it's just like, or it's a show, right? Maybe it's a Drax show rather than a film. But
I'm hoping we'd be able to see him though, because he's so stealthy that
he's invisible.
He can have like 6 episodes, right? He's invisible. Nobody
you would never see him.
Yeah.
Moves really slow.
Yes.
All right. Oh, let's check in the comments. Here we go. I can also say he sat through more hours of makeup than anyone else. It was quite an ordeal every day, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yep. Christian checking in on that. He would know.
I'll say this. In Endgame, there were scenes where it looked like part of what he had on. It looked like from the neck up, he was in makeup. And in certain scenes, it looked like from the neck down, he may have been wearing like a green screen suit. Yeah, a green suit, and that the rest was like computer generated. So, I mean, if it ultimately comes down to, a question of him not looking buff enough, let's remember Bradley Cooper isn't dressing up as a raccoon, and Vin Diesel isn't like
Wait,
taping
what?
branches on his forehead.
Where did you see that? What are you talking about? Of course, Bradley Cooper is in a raccoon outfit. He gets really small, and he gets in it. And he gets in the outfit, and Vin Diesel's totally wearing a tree costume. I don't know where you're getting your info from, pal.
They're taping a twig on his forehead.
What scoop? What video did you watch that on? What scoop video did you watch that on? All right, moving along.
Yep.
Deadpool 3, not a rated R film, says Tim Miller.
Well, he says it doesn't have to be. He feels that.
Well, I'm trying to make the headline sensational.
Yes. There we go.
That's why it's not in quotes.
Clickbait. Okay.
It's clickbait.
Gunn says he is finished after part 3 as well, so maybe it's related.
Going back to this topic. Okay.
Again, with Gunn, though, after he was
exiled,
this may also be a way of him saying, again, show me the money. You kind of dogged me on this. You had to bring me back. So now if you want me to do a part 4, 5, and 6, I need to get paid for it.
Right.
This needs to be my payday. So we'll see. Okay, so back to the Deadpool news story. So this is what Tim Miller said.
All right.
I think Ryan Reynolds' take on the character and the way he embraces the particular kind of insanity, even if you said he's not going to use 4-letter words, would still be there. He's still in that character. You can take the R-rated parts out of it if you want, and it would still be Deadpool if Ryan was doing it. So essentially, he's saying that Ryan Reynolds is portraying a specific attitude, a specific craziness that comes along with Deadpool, that even if you took away the majority of the violence and the F-bombs and everything else, that it would still be good. Let's be honest, it wouldn't be Green Lantern. Could they pull it off? Again, sure. Or, worst case scenario, wouldn't it be funny to put the movie out, put out like a PG rating, a PG version of the movie, and you take out every swear word and you put in like some ridiculous quote instead?
Yeah.
Like instead of, saying MFer, I'm going to kill you, you effer. It's, I'm going to kill you, you son of a motherless goat, or something like that.
You fargin' ice hole.
You fargin' ice hole, play up pop culture, different things where they've done it in the past and, make it work. I think stuff like that would make it funny. It would still have that Deadpool kind of attitude.
It would be slapsticky for sure. That would be, yeah.
Yeah. Which there's an element of that with, with the 2 Deadpool movies.
Right. But the violence though is something that also is funny.
Yes.
It's so cartoonish and so over the top.
Does Deadpool 3 have a Gina Carano joke?
Very well could be. I actually think it would. You know what? They shy away from nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Being that she was in the first one.
Yeah, I very well could be. Especially, I think there could definitely be a Gina Carano joke. I wouldn't put it past them. So, all right, moving along.
Richard
Boner.
We're not talking about Pietro, but we're talking about Pietro, the character behind Pietro. Aaron Taylor Johnson cast as Kraven the Hunter. What do you think about that?
You know, I always am like, I don't know if this person looks like that, and then Marvel has a way of like,
But it's Sony.
oh, it's true, it's Sony, so yeah, they'll screw it up. No, I mean, listen, it's interesting, right? I mean, you know, these actors, they get transformed into these characters and these roles, so
Mhm.
you know, I think I don't know, it's tough. I mean, it's such an over the top like character,
Right.
so you know, I think that I think he'd be good. You know, I'm always willing to give people a shot. I mean, it always comes down at first production still, right? Like, what did it look like in the
Right.
suit or whatever? And then you're like, oh, I can totally see it. So
Right.
I think I got to see that.
Cool. We shall see.
I guess I'm like lukewarm on it right now because I'm like, I don't, you know, I think it could be good, but I'm going to temper my expectations.
You know, before we see a Craven the Hunter movie, wouldn't you want to see him in a Spider-Man movie?
But maybe he does get a scene somewhere.
Maybe he's part of the Sinister Six, which they rumored for.
Well, exactly.
No Way Home.
I mean, just because we're seeing this casting news now doesn't mean it's already, you know,
It didn't happen already.
Right. There could be stuff that already's happened and shot behind the scenes. And now they're saying, all right, let's just go official with this because they're going to drop some stuff soon. So I don't know.
Right. I know you're excited to see if Paul Giamatti comes back as the Rhino, though.
You know, I love Paul Giamatti. I think he's such an awesome actor, but man, was that a miscast. I mean, I can't blame him for taking it because he's probably like, oh man,
Right.
he's a comic book guy too. So it's like I'm sure he was like pumped, but man, that was just some seriously bad miscasting there.
But if he was in the like old school Rhino costume, that would have worked.
I think that I would have liked to have seen that more over. Yeah, the old school like comic right from the comic books, like
right, not a fucking a mech warrior, which was what we saw.
A mechanical spider.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa, look, mechanical rhino.
A mechanical rhino. So many other things wrong with that movie, but
yes,
that's another episode. All right.
Do they fix how Electro looks? I mean, I don't care there was Jamie Foxx. Give him the damn costume.
Give him the costume. Well, hopefully we'll fix that in the next Spider-Man movie. This will all get retconned.
Problem there is they have to make sure that he doesn't look like Rick James on the cover of the Super Freak album where he has the lightning bolt pants on the cover.
That's right. Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. Make him look cool.
Yeah, come on. Jimmy Fox is cool, man. Make him look cool.
Yeah.
All right. Moving along here.
Moving along to Star Wars here.
Because
yeah. J.J. Abrams says he wasn't allowed to do what he wanted with Star Wars.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here comes the I knew this was gonna come out. Here comes the saving face of the director now crying that he wasn't allowed to do anything. Now, I agree with the one statement he says in this was, I wish that there was more planned out. The trilogy was written better. And when you and I have talked about this forever and ever and ever, go back to almost any episode in the last, since these movies are coming out, you and I have said that, yes, that is one thing that you could tell from movie to movie. Nothing's that consistent. It feels like they're making a lot up on the go because they rushed it. They rushed this. Doesn't mean I dislike these films. But we have talked honestly about it, and I would agree with that sentiment that it should have been better planned out. Mm-hmm. And whatever plan they had, they got cold feet on. They got a backlash of the Rian Johnson stuff, and then I'm sure
that's the only reason they brought him back.
And I'm very sure that there's probably this version of the Abrams edit of the Rise of Skywalker that is probably like 4 hours long or whatever. And
my God, did Zack Snyder start a trend?
He did, because that's like a thing now for like everybody, which is hilarious. But I guarantee you that he's trying to get his Abrams cut released and all this stuff. Jesus. Listen, he's crying now because there's a lot of this backlash with him and touching things. And obviously Superman now is a thing. And it's like, oh, what is he going to do with Superman? And I personally like J.J. Abrams. I know he catches a lot of crap. I do like him. And let's just remember, like, whether you like what he did with Star Trek or not, I, for one, who am not a diehard Star Trek fan, actually enjoyed those movies because they felt like the speed of which I always wanted. I understand why hardcore Star Trek fans were upset with that. It's not what they wanted. It's not traditional Trek. But I like that he brought life there. And then let's remember how excited we were about how awesome Force Awakens was, even though it was New Hope redone. But whatever, it was still fun as hell, and we had a great time in a movie. We loved it. We all love. I still, out of the trilogies, that's still my favorite one out of the 3 trilogies. I put Rogue One is separate. I think it's a little like, okay. I mean, it's a total PR move, and I think it's like, oh, it's the cool thing now is to like, oh, I didn't get to make the movie I wanted. You know, Disney interfered with everything, and it's like, well, first of all, yes, if you're working for Disney, they're 1,000% going to interfere in everything, unless you're Marvel. They seem to let Kevin Feige do whatever he wants.
But because again, he's been churning out million and billion dollar hits for them movie after movie. Even it's ridiculous. They're saying, well, Ant-Man really wasn't that successful because if you compare it to Endgame, no kidding. You compare like everything outside of Avatar, no other movie comes close.
No.
So not ridiculous. Well, it's actually only the 8th highest grossing movie in Marvel history. It's like, but it's still grossed almost $1 billion, you dope.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. They start to nitpick at things that make no sense.
Yes, Christian checking in, and we aren't even allowed to take pictures of our work for anything Disney's in charge of. Exactly. That's what's going to happen. I mean, that is what's going to happen. And to kind of complain about this, like I say, then don't take the job of being a director for anything Disney, because you know that they're going to be involved, or at least when it comes to Star Wars, because there's been misfires. We've told Disney, we've told you what the solution is. You have 2 guys on board who you should just hand everything over to, and let them run the ship.
Yep.
Because they've got it handled. Actually, there's 3 guys, because I really like Pablo Hidalgo too. He's in charge of the story group. So you got 3 guys who get it. Let them do their thing, and that franchise is going to be in awesome hands for many years.
And here's the thing, realistically, if you have those guys there in the roles that they need to be in, you don't necessarily have to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy.
No, not at all. And I'm saying, guys, I'm not saying anything that, like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, Kathleen Kennedy's a woman, and Kathleen Kennedy. She's a very talented producer. Like, everybody, there's a lot of name calling around her, but listen, she has learned from the best. She's worked with the best. The woman knows how to make movies. Like, she is and she believes in the vision. There's just got a lot of things going on. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of rushing things to get things on screen and get things shot. I think they found their stride. I think they've got a template, and now moving forward, just use this. And she's smart enough to identify that. And I'm going to tell you, you bring all these things together, and that's the way it's going to move forward. Let her be the CEO of all this and bring these guys and realize for what it is. And then together tell Disney, this is how we're doing it. Look, it makes money. Leave us alone. Much like Kevin Feige is like, we're making you guys lots of money. Fans love us. Leave us alone. And yes, there's bound to be a stinker in there, but like, that's the law of averages, man. Like, not everything could be, you can only stay number 1 for so long.
Right. You're going to get the Inhumans in there every once in a while.
Right. Exactly. Let's not forget the Inhumans happen under this watch. It happens. You're going to lay an egg, man.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Let me read the JJ quote real quick.
Go ahead. Read the quote, and then we'll move on.
There are projects that I've worked on where we had some ideas, but we hadn't worked through them enough. Sometimes we had some ideas, but then we weren't allowed to do them the way that we wanted to. I've had all sorts of situations where where you plan things in a certain way, and you suddenly find yourself doing something that's 180 degrees different. And then sometimes it works really well, and you feel like, wow, that really came together. And other times you think, oh my God, I can't believe this is where we are. And sometimes, he uses sometimes a lot. And sometimes when it's not working out, it's time you think, oh my God, I can't believe this is where we are. Oh no, I just read that twice, didn't I? Sometimes it's working out. It's because it's what you planned, and other times it's not worked out. It's because you didn't have a plan. Okay.
Okay.
He's kind of contradicting himself at the same time.
You know, like I said, I just think it's very cool and fashionable right now for directors to come out because of what happened with Snyder and you know the support he had and all that. But once again, his situation was so much different.
Yeah.
Of why he didn't complete his movie, and you know, in the circumstances that led to what happened, it was just you know, it happened, and that's it. Like I just this whole like. I think, listen, no director's ever going to get no director since Orson Welles has gotten their true artistic vision seen from start to finish. And only Orson Welles got it done once. So,
yeah. And like you're saying, Snyder, because the death of one of his kids, he had to step away.
Right.
The other thing that kind of propelled it as well is the fact that Joss Whedon, you had all the stuff that came out about him as well. So that kind of the combination of both kind of created a situation where people were more open to seeing Zack Snyder's vision of this.
Right.
Because we're also with Army of the Dead, we haven't heard all the usual Snyder crap that we have been seeing while he's been working in DC. Why? Because he's made something that, as you said, has been fun. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet. It visually looks cool. It doesn't look dark.
I gotta tell you, it was fun. It was fun to watch. It felt like I was watching it was like, this is great. And I mean, just because knowing what we got too, I think helped. Like, holy, this is so much better than what we got. Yeah, I mean, I still recommend sitting down and watching because it feels like a good comic book movie. It really does. Yes, it's long, but who cares? That's why it's on streaming and you can take your breaks and, you know. It's worth the watch. It really is.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Moving on. Big
news this week. Big acquisition. This is huge.
This is very big because it's going to bring a lot of. I mean, the biggest thing that comes to mind to me is James Bond.
Yeah.
How big is that going to be to have Bond on Amazon? Because
huge
everywhere.
Yeah.
Amazon has put more money into new shows than any other streaming platform.
And Lord of the Rings is boasting a $500 million in just the first season of this Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah, the problem is that all the like news coming out of that is not good. They've had more than one like person walk away from it already. So
it sounds like a bit of a dumpster fire, but I'm actually hoping though they get it sorted through because
me too.
I think it'd be cool to see. I mean, it's never been explored and other than in writings. So I think it'd be cool to see. So I hope they get it together. As a fan, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. So Amazon buying MGM is huge. It's
enormous news
for so many reasons. And the interesting thing is the new head of HBO, who HBO was sold to Discovery, weren't they? Wasn't or how did that work out?
Was it like Time Warner?
Well, AT&T sold Time Warner to Discovery. Or did they sell it? Or how does that work out?
I actually lost track. I'll dig while you're talking about this.
Okay, so the big deal about this is that it's going to help resurrect shows or movies that not that they were forgotten, but maybe need to be brought to the attention of younger viewers. As much as James Bond is big amongst people our age and people older. I'm not sure like your kids connect with James Bond or teenage. Yeah. So having them on Amazon is going to help promote that specific franchise. There's, and I
Ro-
should have written this down. There's like 3 main franchises that
well,
they got out of this.
Rocky
Okay.
is a big one too. Thelma and Louise. I mean,
Okay.
not a franchise, but huge,
Right.
huge movie. I'm looking right now. I mean, the Bond series is definitely the biggest, which I know we've mentioned a bunch of times.
Yeah.
There was one thing I didn't think was in that deal, and I think Gone with the Wind was omitted.
No, I think that went too.
There was something about something was omitted. I'm looking to see on the.
Okay.
Well, now I'll have like Singing in the Rain. Oh, okay. So Sony Pictures. Oh, here we go. From the New York Times is saying Sony Pictures now occupies a lot, and Warner Brothers owns MGM classic films like Singing in the Rain, The Wizard of Oz, and Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
So those are not in the deal because Warner Brothers owns those.
Okay.
Those films, but they do get all the James Bond stuff, which is really, really the big one out of all these, and the Rocky stuff, which is huge as well, because Rocky's just enormous. Those are the big ones right now that I'm seeing mentioned in this article. Yeah. I mean, and obviously everything else they own, but those movies in particular are ones that are owned by Time. So, and by the way, just to answer the other question, Time Warner is the company. So it was. So AT&T bought Discovery. They merged with Discovery, and then Time Warner bought everything. So Time Warner owns HBO and owns Discovery, AT&T, all that. According to Chris, Mando. Oh, this is just going back to the Lord of the Rings. Mando FX crew is working on Lord of the Rings currently. At least I know that aspect of the show is going to be great. Lots of amazing work. Cool. So just talking about just going back to that Lord of the Rings discussion about the show. But yeah, so this is still huge, man. And at MGM, a lot of those properties, like you said, some shows that were defunct are going to come back. Some of these old films that just haven't thought about in a long time that MGM owns. I mean, MGM is one of the original, along with Warner Brothers, but like real OG Hollywood, like in early days of Hollywood. So very cool.
This is also, both of these moves this week have started to bring up other rumors. It's also put the fire back in the fact that which I don't see this happening, is that that Disney is trying to make a play to acquire DC. I don't see that happening. I
don't think Warner Brothers needs that money. I think that they're fully invested in what they've got. And those properties, I mean, but then again, you could have said, well, Star Wars, I don't know. I mean, listen, man, it's amazing, right? Like, we sit here, we talk about it, and you go, oh my God, this will never happen. But I guess, but let's get in business, everything is for sale, kind of. So what's the number? What's the price that makes it all worth it?
How about this? How about if it's a deal kind of like what they have in place with Sony. where they still make the money, but maybe Feige is the one that's making all the calls with where they go with the movies.
Possibly, or they just get someone else who really, once again, like a Feige, like a Dave Filoni, like a Jon Favreau, who like just really understand the DC universe and really knows how to bring it together and make it make sense. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other plausible thing that I could see is where they would share maybe properties where, HBO Max now has all the Star Wars stuff. So in exchange for, having DC, we're now going to be like exchanging talent so that, or maybe they fold both streaming platforms together.
Well, there's that too. So, I mean, and this is such a deeper discussion that we could go on forever for. And I know we have more quick hits to get to, but yes, with the amount of complaining now that we're all doing of, oh, I got to pay for this and I got to pay for this, and now I'm paying probably even more than I paid when I had cable.
Right.
This could be just like, listen, you could bundle it all together or whatever it is, or it's cross-platform.
Yeah.
You just pay like one price for
right.
Disney, HBO Max, whatever, and you just access everything through the same portal.
Yeah. The other thing that I read real quickly before we move on, I know we're kind of spreading things out here, is again, which is a rumor that I keep reading as well, is that there's a play for again, for Disney to try to buy all the Marvel properties back from Sony, because apparently they're not meeting expectations with their movies or whatever. So they need the cash influx. So again,
they have all that stuff, it's like they gotta, these movies need to be successful for them.
Yeah. I mean, I see that being more probable than a DC thing. Personally,
I do too, just because of the fact that they own Marvel stuff. It makes more sense to focus on sort of these other Marvel properties than it does to like go after like DC.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least for now.
Yes. Okay. We're almost there. 3 quick hits left.
Well, there's that, and then there's me talking about my picks. As promised.
Okay, so we'll go real fast here. John Wick 4 and 5 not being filmed back to back as originally planned.
This was an interesting piece of news for me, because I really thought that it just seemed like that was what they were doing, and it seemed to make sense for me. But
from what I read, 4 is being shot in 3 different locations around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that due to COVID, there were probably more places they probably wanted to shoot, but due to restrictions, they probably can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure that's got to be the case.
Yeah. Okay. More DC news. Todd Phillips returning to co-write Joker 2.
Listen, I mean, Joker, the first one, great movie. I mean, I think it could stand alone, and we didn't need a second one. So I guess we'll see what happens with Joker 2, if it really makes sense. I mean, I guess it can. You could write whatever you want. I mean, that's, and we'll get the answer to the question of whether or not the end was real or not, or if any of it was real, or if it was all in his head.
Right.
Because that's been the question, is he really the Joker? Is this all in his head? Or is he already like in prison and we've just seen, or he's in Arkham, and everything we saw was just, once again, another version of the Joker story, which has happened so many times. It'd be cool.
Absolutely.
I'd be interested in seeing it.
I know you will be. It's one of your favorite characters.
It is. It absolutely is. All right.
The last quick hit is The Flash will end after season 8.
Interesting.
Yeah, they've already lost a bunch of actors this year.
I have stopped watching this show so long ago.
I stopped at season 5. It just got to be too monotonous. And okay, another speedster. Okay, another thing for Iris to complain about. Okay, it's.
Yeah, I was, one of my biggest complaints was I felt like they really started like writing like bad stuff for Iris, and I was like, why are they doing this to Iris? Like, Iris is cool, and they're like making her like not cool. They made her a very much not likable character in my eyes. But
yeah, I agree. And apparently, Jesus, I almost said Todd McFarlane walked away. What's his name? Tom Cavanaugh?
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's done.
And again, we over prepare for this.
Well, we are.
Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco.
Tom
Cavanaugh, and so Harry Wells and Cisco have both walked away this season. Right. The thing I will say is, they cancel. So they stopped Arrow. They stopped Supergirl. They technically stopped What the heck was the one that Keanu Reeves did in the movies?
Constantine.
But these characters are all still showing up, in different in the current series that they have going on. So I mean, sure, these shows come to an end, but I think it's cool that they're popping up here and there for different story arcs. So
yep, I do too. Well, I mean, I used to say, hey man, 8 seasons, good run, done. Yeah. And I haven't watched it in a long time, but yeah, I say good, good, wrap it up. Let's go. Probably should have ended a while ago.
Yeah. Again, had they've done 10 episodes per season?
Well, it's a tall order. I mean, when you're on a thing like a, CW, it's like, that's it. This is how it is. You got, and they got they're writing all these episodes to fill up this time because it's what they have to do. And yeah. And the quality suffers, I feel like.
Yeah.
They run out of ideas.
Yeah, because there aren't any other DC characters they could write about. Similar to what Disney's doing now with the Marvel properties and with the Star Wars stuff. I mean, you have series that go on for 2 months, and you bring something else on. You can do that on regular TV as well.
Well, yeah, and especially if you start bringing it all on HBO Max, WB characters, there's no reason why Warner Brothers can't be doing what Marvel's doing with DC characters. And they are. Right. They start doing it with they had the idea to start doing it on their own app, which then became the HBO Max. But I mean, you have it with Doom Patrol, which is a very weird and cool show, and they did it with the Harley Quinn cartoon, which was outstanding. Right. And I know they started Swamp Thing, but it didn't. It just tanked. But I know Stargirl's on there now, and I haven't watched that yet. But I mean, they're doing it. Mm-hmm. They just got it. They just got to get it going, And I think with these shows that were on, like The Flash, would have been better when The Flash came out. This wasn't happening, but like a show like that with a character like that, I think is better served on that platform. Because you can
platform because you can do
better writing. Yeah, exactly, and you're not beholden to like advertising time that you got to fill and all this because you're on broadcast TV.
Yeah.
So
I agree. So
all right. So we're gonna wrap up the show with, as promised, last week we had the quick discussion during Quick Hits about Brie Larson tweeting or saying, I don't know, that she would like to play Mara Jade in a live action version of Mara Jade. And we went and we had a very we started getting into a robust discussion about this, which then led to Victor calling out a lot of names. And I said, I really need to think about it. Some I quickly dismissed, others I said, I don't know, I got to think about it. I said, I will come back on the show this week with my top 3 picks.
Okay.
As they stand now.
Anna Paquin.
Anna Paquin is not on the list. So, drum roll. Do we have a drum roll?
We do. We do have a drum roll.
All right.
I need to find it.
Chris's Mara Jade picks. Pick number 1. This is in no order, by the way. Karen Gillan.
Someone who Christian brought up, if I'm not mistaken.
Survey says.
Yes.
So yes, Karen Gillan is the one that everybody's been talking about, and I agree. Christian mentioned it in the group, and I will be reading some of the other picks because we did post this on Instagram and on in the group, in the Galaxy Geeks group, and I know for a fact that Christian also had this in his top 3 of actors. If you don't know who Karen Gillan is, really quick, and I highly urge you go look her up on Google, but she is a Scottish actor who is most famous for playing Nebula. In Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, Marvel Universe. She has been in Jumanji. And a bunch of other films. So she definitely is a strong candidate for me to play. And because she's already in the Marvel universe, she would be good. And I know you can say, well, what about Scarlett Johansson? What about Elizabeth Olsen? Yes, they're in the Marvel universe, but I do not think either of them, they would not even be on my mind to cast as this role because I do not think that they even look like the character of Mara Jade. Okay. So, all right, my second pick. Laura Donnelly. Now, Laura Donnelly is, I actually got into watching her with, I just watched The Nevers on HBO Max. There's only 6 episodes. This is the show that Joss Whedon wrote and created and also directed a bunch of episodes before he left the show. Or forced out, resigned, whatever you want to say. So they only were able to get 6 episodes done. Really bizarre show, very cool. Needs definitely some help in the editing in the department, but this isn't a review about The Nevers. Laura Donnelly, I thought was awesome. I think that she was great in the lead role on that show, and I really Amalia True is the character on the show, and I think that she would be a strong candidate for Mara Jade. She's athletic. She does a lot of her own stunts, and I think she's got a really good look. I know Mara Jade is redhead. That can be done with hair, wig, the magic of Hollywood. I'm not concerned about that end of it. I think she would be a strong candidate for Mara Jade.
Hollywood could turn Chris into a redhead.
That's right. I would bring her in for a read. I would say, we select you to come in and read for Mara Jade.
Please come read.
Yes.
For us.
All right. Pick number 3. Amanda Righetti. I don't know really how you say her last name. Also, she is a actor who's best known for, she was in Friday the 13th. She was actually in Captain America, the first Avenger. She was a SHIELD agent. So not a big role there. She was in The Mentalist for a lot of seasons. She was in a bunch of other shows. I think she's in some kind of Christmas Hallmark show coming out. However, she has a very good look. And I think that she would be a strong contender as well for the role of Mara Jade. I think that she could pull it off, and I really, I think she's got a really good look for the character.
Okay, all right, I know who she is. I know her from Colony.
Yes, Colony's the other one.
She was the rich sister, or the wannabe rich sister, who ends up getting 86th.
And I do have an honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Okay.
Catriona Balfe.
Okay.
Irish actress and model, and best known for her role as Claire Fraser in Outlander. Okay. Also, somebody else who I think has a great look for the role, and I think a very good actor, and I think could really bring a lot to the character of Mara Jade. So I said my top 3. This is my honorable mention. But, I shouldn't even say honorable mention. I said top 3. I really don't have these in any order because I think all of them would be great. It's just a matter of, pulling it off. But they would all be on my list of people to call in to audition for the role of Mara Jade. Okay, so those are my top 4 picks, even though I said top 3. So I'll recap. So Karen Gillan, Laura Donnelly, Amanda Righetti.
It felt like Dave Righetti. So.
Yeah, and Catriona Balfe. Those are my official picks as it stands now for the live action role of Mara Jade.
Two that were in Outlander.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. What are some of the things that people on the net chimed in. What are some of the suggestions?
Right. So, some suggestions that we got on the group were Rose Leslie.
To which I responded, "You know nothing, Luke Skywalker."
Exactly. Christian. So that was one of the Christian had picked Karen Gillan as one of his top 3, Sasha Luss, and Abby Kershaw.
Okay.
Those were his picks. And then over on Instagram, we had a few comments. We definitely got the absolutely not Brie Larson.
I saw that one.
Yeah. Let me see what we got here. So
has it become cool and fashionable to hate Brie Larson, you think?
I think so, a little bit. I think she rubs people the wrong way because, I think she's on borderline cancel culture. But,
yeah,
you know what? I think she's great. She's a good actor, and I think I like her, but I just not for this role. We had on Instagram, we had the Skywalker Moon, or sorry, the Sky Moon Walker. Sorry, the Sky Moon Walker checked in and said, "I'm thinking Scarlett Johansson for now."
Okay.
All right. Sargon Kenobi said, so far, no one that they've brought up fits a description. Oh, no, sorry. He just didn't give an answer. He just said no Brie Larson and then didn't offer up anybody. They didn't offer up anybody. And nope, sorry. I thought this was somebody too. Rebel Jedi Knight 88 was saying that many don't have many of the suggestions out there don't fit Mara Jade. And then when I brought up Karen Gillan, they said nope, too well known and actually doesn't fit Mara's description. Rebel Jedi Knight 88 would love to see somebody mostly unknown who fits a description, which I will say Star Wars has a very long tradition of breaking actors, which I do love that that's something they've kept up with, is that they've gone after young actors who are not very known or have been in a few things. And I also would love to see that, happen too. I think that's very cool. I love that that's kind of a tradition they still do.
Can I play devil's advocate to that?
You can, and I know what you're going to say, but do it.
What am I going to say? Let's see.
No, I know what you're going to say, because you're going to say, listen, it's about marketing. It's about having a name, and it's about having a star, and you've got a character like this, and it's a new character. And if you want people to really like that character, you got to suck them in with someone well-known, which is why the Eternals is so weird, and they're using an ensemble cast to suck everybody in.
Yeah. The other thing too is
did I do it right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to throw a few names in there just to back up that statement.
Sure.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Carl Weathers. Rosario Dawson. If we go to the movie side of things, Oscar Isaac.
Right, but Daisy Ridley and John Boyega were not well known. I mean, Daisy Ridley was really, and John Boyega, great actors, but not really in anything that was like, most people had no idea really who they were when when Force Awakens came out.
Okay.
Good to see you.
How many people went to see John Boyega and Daisy Ridley to see Force Awakens and not go to see Harrison Ford?
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, you still had an ensemble cast, but you were able to break new actors in there, and I like that. So if you had a Mara Jade, and I'm not saying Mara Jade's on her own series, I'm just saying Mara Jade appears in a show,
right,
with an ensemble cast, that then eventually could get her own show, much like how they're doing with Ahsoka. But Ahsoka's already, but no, I shouldn't even say that. Mara Jade's also a very popular character. So this is a character that Star Wars fans have been waiting for a very long time to see hit a live action. As much as we all of it.
These things.
It's so good.
I've had these forever. I just have never used them before.
Well, yeah, you got to start using them more.
I can arrange that.
There you go. See, you got to start using them more.
I like the sound of that.
See,
Never tell me the odds.
that's the best one. So when I say Karen, Karen Gillan, you can do. So Karen Gillan,
You're here to tell us these things.
right? Laura Donnelly,
Good to see you.
Amanda Rigetti.
I can arrange that.
Oh, okay. Catriona Balfi.
I like the sound of that.
Oh, there you go. Oh, Han likes it. Han likes the sound of that. Oh, it's so good.
Never tell me the odds.
That
There you
one's
go.
also, yeah, there you go. Never tell me the odds.
There you go.
Ever.
And by the way, the good to see you
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
is right as the Guavian Death Squad shows up. And
My favorite.
Kanji Club happens to be waiting on the other side. So.
I still feel like that, and it probably is already taken already, but what an amazing name for a podcast.
The Kanji Club?
The Kanji Club.
The Guavian Death Squad.
They're both great, but I feel like Guavia Death Squad will turn a lot of people off. They'll be like, what the hell is this?
I think both would be great names for bands.
I do too. That would also be great. Yeah, Guavian Death Squad would be a fantastic name for like a grindcore band, or like a blast, like be great. Like how Los Crudos, like a
Right.
punk really fast, like punk grindcore. That'd be Guavian Death Squad,
Could be. That
or
could
an
work.
amazing jazz trio.
Amazing Jazz Trio. There you go.
So we're Guavian Death Squad, and here we go. Hit it. 1 and a 2. Dun, 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 dun. You just like
That would be cool.
it would be very cool.
So
All right.
on
So
that note,
on that note, we're gonna wrap up the show. This was an action-packed episode. Really,
Over, Johnny.
really clocking in today.
yes.
We've been going a little bit over these last few episodes, but there's a lot going on. We've been getting in these conversations. We're really gonna have to temper it though soon once we get to Loki, so we don't have like 4-hour episodes on our hands.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have Snyder cut versions of the Galaxy Geeks.
There you go.
No, we appreciate everybody who is hanging out with us and watching live, and of course the replays. Thank you so much, and of course those who listen to the audio version of the Galaxy Geeks podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all for your continued support. And all we ask at the end of the day is that you, wherever you're watching or listening, that you like and reshare these episodes, share them with your friends, and of course hit that subscribe button wherever you are. So that way you get notified every single time we go live or we drop a new episode. This really helps us grow the show and helps us keep doing what we're doing. You can listen to all past episodes of the podcast and watch all past episodes of the podcast. You can go to galaxygeeks.net is your entryway into the world of Galaxy Geeks, galaxygeeks.net. From there, you can watch episodes, you can listen to them, you can get access to our Galaxy Geeks Facebook group where there's about 200 plus members all hanging out, talking all the time. We talk about so many other things on air than just what you hear. What you hear on the show is like the tip of the iceberg as to what goes on in that group. We're talking about all the different shows and books and movies and all kinds of stuff. So please, if you really want to connect with a bunch of like-minded people, join the Galaxy Geeks Facebook group. It's completely free to join, and you find a lot of like-minded people for sure. And of course, we have our merch store, which is also you can access through the Galaxy Geeks website. Please buy a piece of merch, buy a shirt, buy a bag, buy whatever. It really helps us keep the lights on here on the show for sure. We don't make any money off this. Victor and I purely do this for the fun and enjoyment of it. And believe me, we love doing the show. We love sharing all the we love everybody that hangs out. But you know what? If you could buy a shirt or something like that, it really goes a long way to help us to keep the lights on around here,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw it over to my amazing co-host and let him wrap it up. And any other words? I'm sure we always have so many other things to talk about, but
Yeah. I'm going to keep it short. That way I don't get cut off this week too.
I will spit my drink out. That was not on purpose, by the way. I just want everybody to know who watched and listened. It was so not on purpose.
It was so funny. I was setting this up, and then as I come back, it's like zoop, just cut off. Like, whoa, what happened?
I know. I felt bad. I felt so bad.
I was on the Star Destroyer, and the one of the doors closed all of a sudden on me. Yeah. So as Han said, punch it, subscribe, all that great stuff. Anytime that you guys hit like or share or chime in, it just helps us get the word out. So I can't implore that enough. With Chris's speech there, I mean, I can't really say much more. He just hit on all the great points. I felt like, like John Belushi in Animal House there, except I wanted to follow him out the door as he was saying all that stuff.
It's all right.
Anyway, and I'm sure he doesn't know that the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, but that's another point. Anyway, thank you for listening.
He's on a roll.
My co-host said, yeah, I can go on forever. Sorry. See ya next time right here on the Galaxy of Geeks live stream, podcast, and all that good stuff. Goodbye.